Saturday Showdown. Deepos Kia versus Genji Esports.
If the Bros win here, they're first in the Rise group. And honestly, that's all we really want to focus on. And then we'll get to the weird stuff if BNK FureX manage to win this game.
I'm glad we
and
just
throw
said
everything
play it.
into turmoil.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's it. That's the stakes. We've set them.
Yep. It only took us about 15 minutes to get there, and thankfully that has got us all the way to the draft. And here we are. Lucian going to be taken away as well as the Nocturne, and the Cassiopeia also going to go. Is it just going to be Cassiopeia Orianna relieved? And it's not going to be just yet, as the Vi is the second one off the board.
Yeah, I feel like we've had a lot of staple bans in the LCK at the moment, but we've seen some shifts, some tweaks where, you know, especially with changes like to
I was
Camille.
always wondering why I didn't see any staplers here.
Well, maybe that would have helped you keep a hand on all the sheets.
Honestly, it would have. They wouldn't have gone everywhere and been misordered. So maybe we need to stop with the staple bans, honestly. Oh, dear. Okay, Ezreal going to be taken away, and then the Orianna, I assume?
Yeah. Some of the picks that are available still, if they go for the Orianna, there's still like the Poppy, Camille, which again has dropped in the ban priority a little bit. Bard, something we sometimes see banned against specific players. And expectation is will just be that Orianna. Now,
It is.
in terms of first pick, we've seen good amount of Jarvan, good amount of Ryze, I would say.
Poppy.
And it looks like it will just be that Ryze for Roma.
Yeah, so the Poppy has been getting through more and more recently.
Yeah. You did get that bunch of changes on this patch.
That is true. It didn't feel like they were all massively nerfs, though. I feel like she still would be strong in the same way that she was.
I think it was kind of taking away some of her jungle clear speed and some of her like bruiser power, so more of a tank, which is, you know, strong in a different way, but not as much early pressure. But she still has a W and heroic charge, which are great tools. But we see the Annie Lee Sin come in, so I like the fact that they're securing a mid lane pick that can set up well for the Lee Sin. CC often very effective against the Ryze, who needs to be within a certain amount of range.
Yep. Also denial of the Risley Sin that we've seen rise to popularity, no pun intended.
This is just Pantheon Olaf. I feel like that's a pretty good pickup here for Anjin Brion.
Feels all right to me. I wonder whether the casting is just like, wait, it can't be this easy, can it? To just lock these away and then be fine. There could be a clear counter pick, right? Like the Kled or something like that on 3. They would be pretty safe to do that, but yeah, I think you're kind of right on the money, as the Pantheon Olaf seems to be the choice. What's the answer?
I feel like we've been seeing some more pairings in the bot lane, so probably just going to leave that till next rotation. I'd probably say just picking up what you want for clear into this matchup makes the most sense. The only thing I can think that you maybe want to get your hands on would be like Jhin, which could get banned, but I know you already have feelings about Jhin, especially in Olaf, so I think picking Clear's pick here, and it looks like the Camille, technically a flex, but we saw Zeus play this into the Olaf the other day, and we're not going to see it today. We're going to see the Xante instead, which...
It doesn't feel like a strong counter.
I feel like the CC, obviously, that Xante offers isn't going to work that well on the Olaf, but I feel like we've seen so many times players take the Kled, not have the mastery of it, not make it work, fall behind. A lot of these counters into Olaf are very feast or famine. And if you lose badly. I think, is Clear going to dominate this lane matchup and shut down the Olaf? No, but I have confidence he's not going to get completely run over and solo killed multiple times.
That is a good point.
Maybe that's just enough, but it does put a lot of weight on Taeyun with this composition. You know, Annie's not a high DPS champion. You have a tank in the top lane. Whatever Taeyun's going to play needs to have that carry potential. And we saw them run a draft like this not too long ago, where they went for the Lissandra mid for Vikla, and Taeyun popped off. Did manage to carry the whole team, got a good amount of momentum, so they clearly trust Taeyun to be that main carry, that main character for the team.
All right, they want Yunara Lulu. That's what I'm guessing.
I feel like a Lulu ban would be pretty good for Brion here.
I would agree.
They might be a little selfish and think we kind of want to get it ourselves, but I think it's just going to get picked on 4. They ban the Yunara, so that aspect of it has gone.
You can still play like a Aphelios or Kog'Maw, something like that, if you do want a Lulu lane. There are champions that can utilize that champ quite effectively, but we'll see what they do decide to do. You can even just lock in the Lulu here, but it does feel a little bit better if you are the Bros to be able to just grab the Lulu combination together. Nico going to be the choice here. Kind of makes me feel like a Corky Nico could be coming on through here for BNK FearX, which doesn't fill me with a whole lot of comfort.
And also, I mean, Hanj and Brion probably comfortable just taking the Corki away themselves. You have to see the Corki when you want one of those safer 80 carry picks. You know, Jin is often picked as someone who can operate from a long distance, but into this K'Sante, I think you'll feel a lot better having the Corki instead, and should be pretty solid in lane. And then for support, Namgun really has a ton of options here. Corki,
Bard.
quite unique in the meta in that you can pair him with pretty much anything as long as the lane matchup is okay. Bard, definitely an option, but he's looking at the Elise, which is a bit of a fan favorite for Namgun.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. He loves the Pike as well. A bunch of different aggressive options that he could go towards. You can also just lock Alistair if you want to pick up one of these champs that can play decently well into the Nico.
I think honestly Shen would be pretty good too, but he goes for the Karma, which we saw quite a lot originally when Nico was like entrenched in the meta. Karma came in as a counter to her, so they want to focus quite a bit on lane. And I also think that the Karma, specifically with Pantheon and Olaf, two champions that are very good when they get in range, but need to get in range, has a good amount of value now. BNK FearX looking at the Sivir.
Wow, and locked in.
I mean, it is a pick that has that DPS you need, has a lot of damage potential, but you are short-ranged. And this composition, if you don't get ahead as BNK FearX, you are so reliant on Taeyun getting the damage out in fights. And there's a lot of threats to make that difficult, so high pressure for the BNK FearX AD carry to pop off this game.
Daniel,
Yeah.
how does BNK FearX stop casting from just murdering Taeyun every fight?
We'll see if they have enough damage, they can kill him before casting kills Taeyun.
Do you know how fast that champion runs?
Yeah.
That's a lot of DPS.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I think being ahead is a big condition of this composition working, so we got to see what particularly this Annie Lee Sin can do in the early levels.
Well, I am seeing some skeptical faces on the BNK FearX side of things. The bros, even in the fandom, just looking cool, calm, and collected. But that might just be because they're bro fans, and bro fans generally are not too phased by much of anything at all. They're just here for a good time, and so are we. Let's see whether BNK FearX can get some revenge. It'll be their first victory in a series after the last 3 losses. They haven't won against this team since the LCK Cup. It's crazy. Let's get into the Rift for game 1. All right. Bro fans in full voice here today. As Chijijik Lol Park was, it's pretty noisy, even if it is the Rise Group start of the day. Got a bit of a barn burner coming up in our second series as well, as a certain telecom war is awaiting us. But I'm here for this one, personally. I'm all for the dessert first.
I mean, a telecom war that also represents a huge impact in the standings for KT. So
yeah,
pressure really on there. Gideon going to start off. They've got 2 wards down in the enemy jungle here. And I think when you know Taeyun is this big win condition, playing a split map like this is a really intelligent way to approach it. I will say Teddy is taking a lot of damage already in this lane.
Yeah, not having a brilliant time. And the Sivir doing what she's supposed to, which is just getting control of the wave. Absolutely is doing that. Even the Blooming Burst actually doing a fair bit of work here as Gideon being a bit annoying. Raptor goes in. Does get stunned up for the trouble, though, as there is Raptor actually flashing for the play. Looking for Gideon, who has charged up his Q. Roamer is also fighting against Vikla, though. Blast Cone does get the Pantheon out of here, but can Roamer actually get the kill before Raptor gets over here? Namgung is going to be set up, and therefore, no one dies.
Pretty chaotic situation there. Gideon gets challenged in Raptor's jungle and is forced away. Nice defense there, but Vikla takes a lot of damage trying to move over from this Rise. End result, no kills, flashes down for both of our junglers, and I'm going to have to move over. Sacrifice Teddy's lane a little bit more. He was already pressured there, but was getting harassed even more so. No health potions available, and a big wave pushed in. We'll see how much of this he can pick up.
Yeah, he's doing his best, but it's currently 17-9, almost double the CS here of Taeyun. And Teddy just continuing to take ricochets this entire time. He's 5-0 on this Corki, by the way. Certainly been having a very good time on this champ throughout the weeks here in the Rise group, but still, it doesn't change the fact that this lane is looking pretty rough.
Yeah, plate already looking to go down, or at least close to it. And getting Taeyeon ahead, big for BNK FearX. The fact that you have information on Gideon, because obviously the invade happened, he got forced away, he's now clearing his own camps, means Taeyeon and Kellen can afford to play aggressively like this.
We do have Gideon ahead by a camp so far. I believe was able to take away the Raptors from Raptor, which Raptor is annoyed about. We have Raptors, and Gideon's Grubs in this game.
Yeah.
So actually the jungle matchup is going to be very pivotal as far as keeping these junglers happy. Don't have the Grubs just yet. 4.5 minutes until we do spot them on the Rift, as Namgung is just throwing out some emotes here towards his bottom lane. And Teddy will make his way back. 250 gold, though, is the lead already here for the Sivir, and we know she is very good at utilizing money in the later stages of the game. So I think BNK FearX feeling very happy about how this one started. You set the stakes already. They just have to do a lot of winning to avoid casting, kind of killing Taeyeon and then making everything a bit of a problem.
And Gideon's here for the Raptors respawn.
Has Raptor taken a Raptor so far this game?
No, I don't think so. He's just been denied both of them. And I think getting the respawn on the camp is so important because after it's died once, it's higher levels with more experience. And, you know, it makes it so much more worth than just that initial invade where you're getting one camp. We see now Raptor crossing over and hunting. He might find, the Raptors about to spawn. So Raptor may get some Raptors this game.
Oh, don't tell. If he goes back and then the Raptors respawn.
They're up in a bit.
Oh, thank
They're up soon. They're up soon.
Yeah.
It's Raptor. Of course he's going to stick around.
He's going to wait for the Raptors because
Yeah.
he's Raptor and they're Raptors. That's a very good point.
He wrapped around to find the Raptors.
Incredible. And now, guess what his reward is?
I don't know. What is it?
It's the Raptors!
Oh, wow.
Heck yeah. Roma is going to find Raptor on the Raptors, but the Raptors are going to be taken already. At least the big Raptor, the small Raptors, some of them will go over to Roma. So Roma's Raptors and Raptors are going to be secured successfully by both teams.
Yeah, Roma roamed to see Raptor killing the Raptors, but I feel like being that it's Raptor, you should have expected him to be on the Raptor. Maybe Roma didn't need to roam. Could have just stayed in lane.
But a Roma going to roam, okay? And the Raptor's going to Raptor. All right, that's enough of that. I feel like things are getting a little bit silly.
The words are losing all meaning.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Monty Python would be telling us that we do need to just take a bit of a timeout now. But thankfully, they're not here to do that. Okay. Taeyeon and Kellen still having a good time, but Teddy has actually kind of turned this one around a bit. Oh, that's a great snare into Namgung. He's in a lot of trouble. Does have to heal. Is going to be able to use that and the flash to get out of the way, but the blooming burst after the flash, and Kellen able to get that first blood for BNK FearX.
Just a big overstep from Namgun then, gets punished. You know, was low on mana, didn't have his ult available. One of the things that makes it so hard to kill Karma, especially... Oh, they're looking for Roma.
All right, yeah, the bear goes down, and there is the kick, and Raptor finds more than the Raptors.
Yep, Raptor finds Roma. And we'll be able to pick up an early kill. This is a power off that Annie Lee Sin, the CC setup for the Sonic Wave. Gideon going to make his way onto this dragon and try and pick it up with the enemy bot lane resetting. So might just be a window he can do this.
Oh man, Raptor going to feel so good. He's taken the last 2 Raptor camps that have come up. This is crazy. So yeah, Dragon will go over, but who cares about dragons?
So a big thing is Namgun used the shield on Teddy already and then gets rooted here. And the thing with Karma is you're so hard to kill, especially with that Ignite, if you have your ult up and you Mantra W for the healing. But ult wasn't available, didn't have the shield, and was just very vulnerable. Also from Raptor there, I know it's a stun target, but making sure the Sonic Wave didn't hit the minion, very important. That could have been a bit of a blunder, but he avoids falling into that trap. And 2 quick kills for BNK FearX. Already a 1,500 gold lead is a great start. And to just really, really twist the knife, we see Raptor setting up in the area around the Grubs. If he picks those up,
no. Gideon
recover?
So upset. I don't think so. I think emotionally he will just be out of the game. And there's not going to be a whole lot the Bros can do about it.
You know what's actually near the Grubs? The Raptors.
Oh no! And so Raptor is going to take more Raptors. That's 3 Raptors in a row.
I get why he's called Raptor now.
Yeah. All right, well, he's going to be called Grub soon, potentially. 30 seconds until they're up and available. He's going to go for a bit of a reset first. Maybe he wants another sword. He's going to buy a long sword for every Raptor camp that he's taken. That means he's got enough long swords, actually. But he knew that he was going to take all 3 of them before he came back out of base. As he gets a pickaxe. Does a pickaxe represent the grubs? Maybe it does. All right, Teddy and Namgung will be able to get control back here in this lane. But, man, you look down at the gold, and it is looking very, very blue right now for BNK FearX, just taking control kind of everywhere. And casting is falling very far behind in the top lane. I have a feeling this is to do with the teleport advantage that Clear does have. But still, having a Cassante this far ahead this early feels pretty good if you're a BNK FearX fan.
How crazy would it be if we found out the answer to Olaf was just pick Cassante?
Our LCK players would feel very silly if that was the case, because they have been defaulting to that throughout their entire careers ever since this champion came out. That's all right. Raptor is not going to quite find the dive here towards the bottom side, but his Raptor camp is spawning, so he is needed elsewhere.
You always have to be concerned in going for those dives when there is a Pantheon in the enemy team. And speaking of the Pantheon...
Down he comes. Kellen is extremely dead. Gideon is going to be able to lock that one up. And yeah, now it's where things get a little bit dangerous when it comes to pushing up lanes.
Well, I mean, now actually it's a bit safe because the ult's on cooldown. But after the ult's back up, yeah, it's dangerous. The ult, obviously a big threat. And Tayin and Kellen have spent a lot of this laning phase just pushing up, trying to harass them under tower. Gideon sees his window here. And Kellen, just the damage from the ult alone nearly kills him.
Yeah, I think he made the right choice as far as just backing away. Didn't have his flash, and so was just kind of a sitting duck, assuming he transformed into a duck at that time. Do you know what would be really cool if Nico could actually, like, not only the, like, NPCs on the map, but also, like, never mind, we've got a little bit of a fight here. Roma is getting taken down to about 50% as Kellen going to have the favor return.
Oh, no.
But, like, you know how there's, like, the little dragonfly up here and stuff like that, and, like, the little critters? What if Nico could turn into the little critters as well, and so you could be the duck in the river, you know, the little duck just below mid lane?
The duck is so tiny, though. It'd be so
I know, but it's a slightly enlarged version of the duck.
I don't think that'd be a good disguise, but you know what? I'm not against it.
Oh, it'd be fantastic. Not about disguise, it's about sending a message.
Well, Raptor picked up Gideon's grubs, took all 3 away from him.
Oh, my
And now he's trying to kill his top laner.
Well, Gideon is here, ready to tango. They do have the pings out, so they knew what was going on as Roma is in trouble as well. Vikla, 6 tibbers on him, and now the stun comes on down. Namgung is looking for Raptor. Oh, the tether is going to remain, but Raptor is able to flash himself out of the way. There is the blast cone as well, and the Q is not going to be nearly enough damage, wasn't charged up, and so the bros not able to grab Raptor this time.
Yeah, Gideon goes for the flash Q. You saw he wanted blood there, was upset about the grubs, but not quite able to find the enemy jungle. Good escape from Raptor. And importantly, because Vikla had the lane pushed in mid, Roma wasn't able to realm warp over and assist. In fact, he just realm warped back to lane just there.
Oh, a little bit of a battle here. That's a very nice spell shield from Teddy. And Teddy looking for the DPS, finds the phosphorus bomb as Teddy's just
Teddy
running around him. Yeah, Teddy's just going to kill him. And that in the end just did not look close at all.
Yeah, you know, Teddy just able to keep getting those autos down. Still had the barrier in pocket. Just shows how he had the advantage, was confident to go for that play.
Yep. You see bro fans as well. I mean, they're just having a snack, you know, not worried about the state of this game whatsoever. Might be down 1,000 gold. No, bro fan doesn't mind as Teddy just going to spot Tayin here. And I did feel like that big one being spell shielded was going to be a big deal, but no, it just wasn't.
Yeah, I feel like just not enough auto damage from the Sivir at this point.
Nice Teddy.
Yeah.
What Gideon said at the start there. And then
I mean, Gideon's been such a phenomenal hype man. We've had so many clips of him gassing up his teammates.
Yeah, and his, like, the accent that he uses for it as well, like the nice, I really like it. You know, it's got like, there's an amount of showmanship. And I know casting is the guy that wants to be the actor, but I think that Gideon could probably go with him. As Roma, he's not acting, he's leaving. He's just going to have to flash away. Raptor not going to be able to quite find the angle there as Kellen puts that flash on cooldown once again, and Teddy completes that quest.
Oh, Triforce completed as well. He's feeling pretty great about that spike. BNK FearX want to start up this dragon. Something I will say is that Vikla on the Malignant spike feels really strong. But remember, Taeyun, no summoners. Kellen just lost his flash. No flash from Raptor either. And as much as Roma's maybe down, I feel like Hanshin Brion could be pretty confident about this fight as long as they don't get all hit by a Tibbers.
Yeah, Teddy, like, remember, Kellen does not have his flash available, so has to be extremely careful. Now they are going to give over the
life
dragon.
available.
Yeah, it's the whole health bar going to 0 thing that we went over last time. That one is starting to become a bit of a problem. Roma gets some crushes before he makes his way back in. And we now have the bros on this dragon. Raptor is thinking about being sneaky, looking for a bit of an angle. He's got teleport as he's finished
watch
his
Vikla.
quest. And the teleport to come forward from both top laners. Teddy looking for an angle. It is going to be Bro securing the Drake. That is double dragon. Hextech Soul in this game as well as Clear looking for the angle, but he gets put in runic prison and therefore is unable to actually contest.
Good disengage there from Hanji and Brion. Even though I felt like they had some advantages in the fight, I feel like the one-item spike of the Annie is so threatening, and there was definitely a moment where Vikla was hunting for the Tibbers, but the defense play blocks it. Oh no.
I have seen this one before as well. That was a real Kellen who went down to basically 0. He's going to have to leave. They had their eyes on Taeyoon, wanted to make sure that this Civil was pushed out of lane, and this went from them winning to an absolute disaster extremely quickly here in this bottom lane.
Yeah, and you know, even though Clear is quite far ahead in the top lane, I don't know if the Cassante is really going to make that much of a difference when we get to the later stages of the game. You need Taeyoon to be strong, and once again, this Pantheon ult from Gideon getting great value. Taeyoon just gets decimated here. 2 dragons in pocket as well, so for BNK FearX, Soul isn't on the cards anytime soon. Your Civ is behind. I think we had boxes that needed to be ticked, and these boxes seem very unticked right now.
Yeah, not a lot of ticks being involved here, as Roma is just going to recognize that there is no CC left.
I would have accepted like a cross instead of a tick.
Yeah,
just
no,
something to signify that like.
I didn't think they bring a pen.
Met.
They didn't bring a pen.
I
think that might have been the issue. You know how you're on the plane, you have to sign the arrival thing, and you just like you realize you packed a whole bag with all the stuff that you thought you needed, and none of those things was a pen.
Whenever you really need a pen, it's never there.
Yeah,
that's just a classic. Like right now, there's a pen here for me, but I don't actually need it right now. And I have a feeling when I'm writing on my comment, it'll have disappeared.
Yep, that is a good point. But I often steal it because I think it's funny for you to not have it. As Vikla is going to have to flash to get out of the way of this. And unfortunately, that was not nearly enough. Hextech Tib is looking to try and get some revenge. But I think he's representing 50 gold for the bros. And to have your pets turned into Brotax live on the Rift in front of you, this is not a good sign for BNK FearX.
Really isn't. They're looking to prioritize this Herald, but at a big cost in terms of gold on the bot side of the map. And I think there's just something so powerful about Pantheon with a point-and-click stun and Karma speeding him up to get in range.
Yeah.
That just doesn't leave very much space for counterplay now.
Not to mention the fact that you can Mantra that Inspire. She gets sped up as well, and then can get the snare off the back of the stun because you can't create the distance.
Yeah.
There is certainly some extra added-on synergy that works very nicely between these two champions. And then you add a Rune Prison on top of it, and then everything is just really kind of peachy. Working well so far here for the bros, though. 2 minutes on the next dragon. And I was going to ask something really weird.
Okay.
Because so far in the LCK, we haven't really seen Corki as an individual champion find all that much success. But maybe we should just start banning it from Teddy. Maybe Teddy's not allowed to play it.
He's been having a lot of success with it. And I think it offers a lot of flexibility in terms of what support pick you can go, which for Namgoon, who has been a very versatile support, there's a lot of value in that.
Yeah.
Okay, the heralding mid now, which, it's obviously going to take the tower, but I was wondering if they were going to save this for that next dragon fight and try and have the pressure then. Oh, and I'm good in trouble.
Yeah, there is the safeguard kick, and that is a very dead Karma. Nothing they can do about that as Kellen doesn't quite find the angle with the Pop Blossom, and now Casting's making his way in. Teddy is going to flash on top of Taeyoon. It looks like Olaf will be able to finish the job, but they do take down the Corki. Gideon now trying to get out of here as Casting is just going ballistic. Finds a triple as everyone's mopped up. And yeah, congratulations, he killed Gideon. But now this Olaf is well and truly online.
Casting going to be so fed on the back of this. Roma might be in trouble, has flash.
Yeah, it was completely separated. It does have to flash to get out of the way. Good Rune Prison as well to make sure that Raptor couldn't follow. But if they had have both taken the Blast Cone in the same direction, I think maybe they could have both survived without having to use more summoner spells.
I will say something. This fight does make the next dragon fight very interesting because so many summoners were burnt here. Nice kick here from Raptor. the flanks behind come in, and Kellen tries to zone them away with a Pop Blossom, but then they find Teddy with the Herald. The follow-up is immediate. The problem is killing Teddy is great, but then you've used a lot of your tools already. In casting, even though his ult is no longer available, can just smash everyone, beat them up in melee range, and the multi-threats of Hanjin Brion paying off there in that fight. Now he's managed to complete his first item.
He was 50 CS behind. He still is.
Yeah.
Oh my lord. Clear was just really dunking on him in lane.
Interestingly, Teddy went the tier very late. And
Yeah.
when you think about the power he had earlier to duel Taeyun, I feel like this is sort of a decision around, I want damage power now. I don't want to delay my first item spike because, you know, I can just pick up the tier whenever. It does mean his mirror mana is going to be stacked later than is typically expected, but right now, he's pretty strong.
Certainly is. Well, there's on the hunt popped here by Taeyun just defensively as Teddy gets dove on by a clone. Now you've got an all-out from Clear, but he is going to go all out the hard way. And now the Drake should be secured. That is going to be Soul Point over to the Bros. And yeah, there was a turret that did fall down somewhere, but I don't think the Bros are going to be too worried about it. And there is a Valkyrie to get out of the way here. Vikla finds a Baron to Namgung, who now flashes out of the way. There's a big one to connect as there's a kick flash. That's beautifully done. Pop Blossom connects, but the Aegis is already set up, and now Teddy is able to just freely auto-attack, finds the rockets, and down goes Kellen.
BNK BFX unhappy with how that Dragon setup went, unhappy with the fact that they just lost one member and then the third Dragon. Try and force a fight here, but end up paying for it pretty heavily. Hanjin Brion, 3 Dragons in his pocket, 2,000 gold ahead. We'll see how this played out. And ultimately Clear, we saw this Xante get ahead in lane, but just isn't as tanky as he'd hope. A lot of damage from Hanjin Brion to cut through him, and they instantly target him as he's trying to move in for the flank. He ults Gideon, which is really not the target you want, and then just gets CC'd and taken out. Oh.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll see that replay in a second, but here, they find Namgun, but a lot is committed to him. He doesn't end up dying. They end up turning the play onto Roma, but this whole time, you know, Gideon and Teddy are on standby, just able to clean up these targets. And Taeyun's just not really in a position to get the damage down.
This Hanjin Brion team are really looking like their eyes are set on playoffs. I think that there might be more than the Legend group to worry about as far as our contenders.
Well, the timing there, like the spell shield as he was in the air was still up, but just dissipates as he connects the stun.
And if Teddy's there, the spell shield becomes so difficult to use, right? Because Corki just throws out so many things all the time that, you know, you can just time it alongside the Pantheon coming in with your rockets or your Phos Bomb or anything that you like. And then that stun is more likely to come on through. It's a tough game to play here for Taeyun, but we iterated that before.
Yeah, it's now 3,200 gold lead for Bro, and 2,300 of that is on Teddy. He is very strong right now, and the Sivir just still needs more time. And even if the Sivir has time, it's not even just about the offensive items. You also need defensive items into this team composition. If you're going to live and put that damage out, we've talked a lot of times about that 400 CS win condition with Sivir.
Yeah.
This game is kind of feeling like that, and the problem is in 2 minutes 40, it's Hextech Soul for Bro if you can't take that away from them.
And then Teddy will have rockets that will then also slow you and chain to your teammates. It was already looking rough, and that's only going to make things rough. And not to mention, Pantheon can throw spears out. You can have rogue Qs coming in from Akama. Hextech Soul was probably the worst thing that BNK BFX could have been staring down the barrel of here.
Yeah, honestly,
having
like
the monopoly on the bottom side of the map.
an Ocean Soul would have been a lot less problematic if that
Yeah.
come through. And 2 minutes away, we didn't have a lot of summoners available for that last Dragon setup because so many were burnt in the fight before. We should have pretty much everything coming into this one available for these two teams. Maybe Raptor and Gideon's won't quite be up. Actually, I think Raptors will. Gideon might not be.
Oh, there's a teleport to bring the Xante over. Teddy flashes out of the way of the Pop Blossom, but Vikla will then find him with this Tibbers. Does have to flash away, though. He doesn't have enough damage, but the Pantheon will be taken down. On the hunt is there from Taeyun. He's got that extra movement speed. His casting is now looking for the Annie. Does have the flash and the ghost available.
I don't think you can kill him, though. I don't think you can hold him still, obviously, with the ult. And Realm Warp actually, I don't think he's going to... He is following this. They're going for it.
Yeah, they're going to look for the angle here as Clear is just in that front line being a menace. And there is the Pathmaker. Casting gonna have to flash away. Is the Q gonna connect onto Roma? He's trying to hold him in place as the rest of B&K make their way in. Namgung not gonna find too much, but the Inspire comes down. There is the kickback. Namgung's taken out. And now Vicla's in trouble. Teddy can't do anything about this, though. It's a double for Raptor and B&K FearX. They managed to find 4 off the back end of that really crooked and strange fight.
Just when you think Bro have got control of the game and this is where they're going to be able to take it and just shut B&K FearX out, this flank comes in and Gideon tries to sort of hold Raptor away but ends up being sacrificed as a result. Teddy forces Vikla off, but you're already down your jungler. I think this point, there was no reason to Realm Warp in here. There's no reason to force this fight. You know they're not on the Baron. You can just wait for your jungler. Casting uses his ult, doesn't get to hit targets, so it times out quickly, and then you're backing away. This felt like an unforced error from HanJin. Yes, you lost your jungler, but they hadn't even started up the Baron.
Whoa! We got another kickback here as Gideon is just going to get wiped out. Kellen's the one that grabs that kill. And so he just come out of base and is now just sent back to the black and white screen once again.
And this should be Dragon for B&K FearX, so slowing down the game a little bit and pushing Bro away from that Hextech Soul. Some great pickups here, but I have to say, I feel like HanJin really given over way too much with how they've been playing the game recently. Just a lot of players being picked and stepping into areas of the map they really shouldn't be.
Yeah, I think unforced error is definitely the right sort of word for this whole situation. As Gideon going to get caught by Raptor, another great safeguard kick.
Yeah, they didn't have any vision set up. This was very rushed, which makes sense because they were just coming back on the map, but they were just rushing towards a dragon. They get caught off, didn't have vision covering all the angles. Now, though, trying to keep some vision around this Baron area. It is the Huni Baron, the one that does a ton of damage.
Yeah, it's a scary one.
I think B&K FearX, even after a few times they've taken down Gideon back to back to back, have been tentative about starting this one up.
Understandably so. Not quite with a GA or anything like that on Raptor. Looking for that third item spike when he can find it. Gideon doing the same thing. Still sitting on some free boots.
One thing as well, with Teddy stalling the tier out to, you know, finish off his Triforce, be a bit stronger earlier, it does mean that his Manamune is still really far away.
Yeah.
And hasn't...
He's not even at 200 stacks yet. Wow.
Yeah, I don't think it's the reason they haven't been able to win these recent fights. There's been a lot of other factors, but it does mean you're just not having as much strength as you normally would at this point of the game. Big trade-offs to delaying that.
Yep. And probably wants the Infinity Edge, and when the Infinity Edge does come in, I think that transformation will arrive as well. The 4-item spike is looking a little bit juicy here, but with just the Collector added on top, it really does feel like an unfinished job so far for this Corki build.
Yeah, Roma nearly has level 16, and the Actualizer isn't too far away, so some pretty big spikes. I think, honestly, HanJin just need to slow the game down a little bit, wait for these big spikes for themselves, and then play around those dragons. Don't get baited into unnecessary fights. As much as, obviously, letting the Sivir scale is dangerous, I think you still have plenty of gas in the tank in your composition, a lot of scaling elements there. I think you're fine in the late game as long as you shut down Taeyun. And right now, B&K FearX do have a bit of a gold lead, but I don't think it's the end of the world. Just play your game and don't get sucked into these unnecessary fights.
Yeah, I think now, though, the bros do need to be smart about how they fight. Right? Make sure that they have access to Taeyun. Make sure that Casting has the Ghost available, for example, and can really get in there and cause a problem so that Teddy can be a whole lot safer. The more dangerous this Olaf is, the safer Teddy is going to be in these fights. So I think B&K FearX doing a great job getting themselves back into touching distance, but like you say, job is not over yet. Clear, though, is just getting tankier and tankier. He's got 3 items now, looks like, and he's almost close to a Flame Horizon. Casting really has not been hitting the minions. Clear might die again, though.
He's very tanky.
He is, so never mind. Just going to flash. We'll get him out of the way. Gideon now with his Guardian Angel done 2 minutes before this Dragon. That feels good. As Roma needs to be a little careful, but I do like the bravery. Very courageous Rise, standing in that brush while the bad guys all just rush at him.
Courageous is a word to describe it.
Yes.
Getting the flash from Clear is great. Pretty much everyone's summoners are now available apart from him. You know, Casting's flash is about to come up. And losing any of these before these next big fights could be very costly. Especially, you know, the 80 carry summoners, very important in this situation. junglers as well when there's a big objective on the line. BNK Furex still able to maintain that tier 1 tower. Obviously with a Sivir, you have a lot of wave clear to do that. But it does mean that Taeyun can kind of play quite safely up on the map. And it can be such a danger against a Pantheon to push this far forward. But having the tower there means Taeyun has been able to do so for a while now.
Actualization available here for Roma.
Big spikes. Big spike coming in for Roma. A lot of power there on the rise. And at this point, you're looking at Vikla to get a lot of value out of his CC, out of his engage. But in the extended fight, he just does not offer as much as Roma. He is just not as strong. The Annie needs to get that big, high-value engage to compare to a Ryze who is just doing insane amounts of damage at this point in the game.
All right. Well, we have 45 seconds until that dragon is up and available. Once again, a sole opportunity for the bros. BNK Furex, they have to fight for this. And already, look at the amount of vision that they have.
Yeah.
They have done their homework prior to this one. And the bros really need to get over here and start to remove some of this vision. Troll Ward goes down, and the bros will be able to at least get their path towards this river available to themselves.
Still no Manamune fully stacked on Teddy.
Yeah, still needs 60 stacks, I'm pretty sure, around there. Not quite with his Infinity Edge yet either. Is Q going to go wide? I mean, Teddy still does a lot of damage. But these ricochets are really starting to hurt as well as Vikla finds a bearer of the wall. Pop Blossom hits onto 3, but one of them's the Olaf, who does get that Stride Breaker down. No one dead just yet as Vikla looking for Roma. These health bars are getting lower and lower, but Gideon isn't the target that they're looking for. Finally, Roma will fall. And BNK Furex, they may have just found enough in order to guarantee this dragon.
And Vikla finds the value there, is able to pick off Roma, has the CC, gets the damage down. And the Ricochet Shred as well was doing a lot of work. BNK Furex, a game where it felt like they were struggling to find a way back in. Pretty controlled fight here. Vikla plays around this angle here, clears out the ward. And I feel like they knew his position was there, but Roma just disrespects by walking up to this wall. Already chunked out a bit, gets ulted by the Annie. Ceres procced as well before he could actualize. And then he tries to push back in, but Tibbers is on top of him, and Vikla just chases him down.
Yeah, and Taeyun actually has a great spell shield during this fight as well. One of the big ones from Teddy, just going to be entirely absorbed. And so a lot of the team fight damage tonight. Teddy will now have his Infinity Edge complete, and he is only a few stacks away from that transformation.
To have the IE completed and you don't have your Murmana finish it, though.
Yeah,
that
it's kind of nuts.
Wild.
Kind of reminds me of a certain Zeka game.
Yeah, I honestly was thinking of that one, but it's not as bad as Rise without tier.
Yeah, a little bit less egregious, but still feeling, I'm feeling the same feelings about it. They have started off the Huni Baron. You can see, taking a lot of damage already. It's only down to 50% health as Roma is teleporting in. There should be a turn, should be a team fight as Casting, wondering whether he wants to be taking this thing over as okay. That is going to be at least a crab secured, and Gideon goes in. The flash forward is a Stride Breaker to take down Vikla. Pop Blossom does nothing at all as Gideon gets the Aegis. They do take down the Olaf, but I have a feeling he's done his job as Raptor tries to get in there, but he's down to the GA already. Teddy is making this Infinity Edge work for him, but there goes Gideon. So a 2 for 2 in the end as the dust settles. Congratulations on the transformation there, Teddy.
BNK Furex just going to push mid here. The health bars are higher. Very difficult to contest this right now. They're going to give it a go, though.
Yep, Teddy still has a lot of damage, but so does Taeyun. Roma trying to find these angles. There is the flash forward from Clear, but the follow-up isn't quite there in time. Taeyun gets a great barrier to avoid some of the damage from Teddy, but you can see just how much he is dishing out with each of these empowered autos.
He's such a massive threat. And honestly, I think a big factor in this fight was the tier 1 tower still being up for BNK Furex. It makes it so awkward here because it makes it very difficult to chase through. They start up with this engage on a Vikla who has no flash. The Olaf just decimates him. But then we see Gideon pulled in the tower. Casting has to run through, and Teddy can't follow. The tower is just kind of preventing any follow-up and allows that level of safety for the Lee Sin to res here. So I think that tower still being available made such a big difference there. Teddy's so strong right now, but just couldn't hit targets when he wanted to for that entire passage of play.
Yeah.
Also, the angle on the kick from Raptor.
Yeah,
Kick
it was
Teddy.
just sort of like the stun into the wall
Yes,
style of
if he'd
kick.
kicked him into the tower, I think maybe that would just be Baron gone.
Well, one of the important things here for BNK FearX is the fact that Sivir now has 3 items completed. And if we thought that those ricochets, sorry, 4 items. If we thought those ricochets were hurting, they're hurting even more now.
I mean, this is a sort of level of damage you want to have on the Sivir. I was talking about how BNK FearX were very reliant on Taeyun to be pumping out the damage. This is the point where you're going to feel a lot better about things because Sivir does crazy DPS now. Doesn't have any defensives, though. That's the only concern. No summoners right now. No QSS, no Mikhails, no GA. Does mean if they get on it, they can kill the Sivir, but that's a big if. And now Baron's been started. Victor's waiting for Roma.
Yeah, they're just doing it again. Let's see whether it works out this time as Gideon looking for a bit of an angle. He can just get on forward. He gets into the pit. Good kick out there from Raptor. They secure the Baron. And now Clear is going to have to run away. Can they get out with all of these Barons intact? That's the question. And the answer looks to be an absolute resounding yes.
Really nicely played by Raptor there to keep Gideon away, knowing he had no flash, and Gideon not willing to commit the ult in there to guarantee he was in the pit. And end result is Baron for BNK FearX. With Baron being secured, we'll have to see what they're able to translate it to. Now they're going for a trap, but the rocket comes in from Teddy as the minions are walking up. He knew they were going to get put in vision anyway, so this fires a big one. 45 seconds on this Dragon. This would once again be sold for Hanj and Brion if they can secure it, but that has been impossible for them for the last couple.
Yeah, there is Asterix now on casting. I think he's playing pretty more happily towards the front lines now with that extra layer of safety. Roma is picking up this wave where he can.
You often see the Death Stance coming in.
Yeah.
Interesting to go for the Asterix here. Did get buffed a little bit on this patch. But BNK FearX are trying to push heavily through mid and just deny access for Hanj and Brion to that Dragon area that's spawning soon. This is big, actually. I know it feels like a cost to be in the Tibbers, but the Tibbers cooldown is pretty low, and casting being ultless is pretty massive, although both champions have something that reduces ult cooldown with the Hexplate and the Malignance. And Raptor's just going to start at the Dragon. Bro, and nowhere near.
Yeah, I have a feeling this is just soul point for soul point. And BNK FearX almost able to get themselves a Hextech Soul after the Bros sat on 3 dragons to 0 at the start of this game. Absolutely crazy as the outer turret is taken finally on the top side of the map. Roma is going to be able to claim that one. The gold is still only like 2,000 gold between these two squads, and at 35 minutes, that is less than meaningless. BNK FearX now just looking to break open the base once again, this time in the bottom lane as Raptor moves forward. Teddy has his mortal reminder. This Corki is terrifying, but Taeyun is well and truly online himself. He's a full item behind, but I'm still so frightened of this Sivir and her damage potential. 2 inhibitors now just taken out. This Baron doing so much work for BNK FearX. And the Bros, they have to win a fight if they want to take this one. As Raptor goes in, Raptor goes out.
Yeah, it was maybe trying to bait out the Ragnarok there. They're going to try and put more pressure and go for the Nexus Towers.
Oh my god, these Nexus turrets just do not last at all. And in goes Gideon finally. Vikla just kind of disappears, but stays alive for a lot longer than I think they were expecting. Pop Blossom only gets Gideon, and into the backline they go. Roma is going to go golden, but Taeyun, he stays alive. A 1-for-1 so far, mid laner for mid laner. Teddy's at full health, but man, they need to start getting rid of these players. And in goes Gideon trying to find that angle. The flash out of the way from Taeyun. Teddy realizes he has to do it. Takes matters into his own hands and kills Taeyun. Now Gideon will get on top of the Nico. Down she will go. And Namgung not able to find that Q. So with 2 left alive, BNK FearX back away. But man, I think they've done enough.
I mean, it's a good fight win for Hanj and Brion to save their base, but they have no opportunity to push. They have to deal with the minion waves in their base. And we see it start off with a stun from Gideon onto Vikla, so they target the Annie. But this Realm Warp from Roma is so chaotic. Jumps in, flashes in to try and delete the Sivir, and does a lot of damage to be fair, but gets focused down immediately. But Taeyun's so low puts him in such a delicate spot because he's basically an auto away from death, and we see that on display in just a moment. Flash forced there by the Olaf, and Teddy slides in for the kill. So much burn here as well when you look at the summoners.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to make things more difficult for the Bros to rush down Taeyoon next time around.
Yeah, big thing is Raptor and Kellen both have their flashes still. They maintain them, and everyone else burned basically everything. Teddy's flash is already down, so his will be up pretty soon. And he does now have a GA as well. Picked up a lot of gold from that fight, because you know he just bought the Mortal Reminder before that.
Yeah.
GA also for Taeyoon is a pretty relevant spike.
Yeah, Taeyoon does have the control ward spike as well. So they're even on items, Ox.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. As Teddy now going to look for an angle towards clear. That is going to be a Rune Prison down. The Cassante very tanky, and so isn't too worried about this whole situation. Teddy in the base gates just trying to get some damage down where he can find it. And BNK FearX, I like it. They're keeping up the pressure, knowing that there are no Nexus turrets for the next minute. A little bit less, perhaps, but now the Bros, they need to try and defend this Nexus. Gideon goes in. They're creating a good amount of chaos here as Roma goes gold, and he's still at pretty high health. Casting not finding a way in, though, and there is the Rise going down. Teddy gets pulled back and put down into the GA, and now the Olaf trying to get on top of Vikla, but it's the Sivir that's the problem, and BNK FearX will finally find a game win over the Pros here in the LCK for 2026. Wasn't able to do anything that game on this Olaf. It's probably one of the least impactful Olafs we've seen over the last month.
Casting didn't seem to be able to find a way in. Roma was finding too many ways in. Namgun on the Karma, it felt like he wanted to try and set up plays, but playing a Karma, you're just kind of sitting back and shielding people.
Yeah.
This felt like Bro had a winnable game state and then lost track of it. Meanwhile, BNK FearX.
한번 공 칠게. 공 칠게, 공 칠게.
그렇게 버리고 다 줬어요.
그냥 올라프 쪽 봐도
그냥
되고.
팀포 치면서 라이즈가
앞라인 봐, 앞라인 봐.
앞라인
나 괜찮아, 나 괜찮아. 무조건 라이즈.
야 그렇게 앞라인 그렇게 높을 라이즈
올라프. 나이스 얘들아. 아 미안하다. 쏘리. 진짜 쏘리.
아 개저런데 아니 저러도 이기니까 그냥 집착 잘했어
쓰레기였어.